we could sit here with this group in particular and talk about so many different things, but it 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 wouldn't behoove us if we really left this forum. Like we don't get to meet all of us this often. It wouldn't behoove us if we didn't touch on police brutality in general. Um, I'm at a point like I don't necessarily know what is going on. Like, um, you get to the point like you see things on the news constantly. Like every day is an exaggeration, but it is constant.
You can't keep up. There's so many instances. There's so many
You don't
incidents
have.
that you really can't keep up. There's so many incidents. Every day is a new one.
Well, a lot of people talk about the advent of camera phones and everything like that, and body cameras for police, all these different things. But somebody, I think he's an activist too. The guy, what's his name, Sean King. He made a point the other day that it takes a lot for instance of police brutality or instance of police killing or something like that to even make national news. Like, so these things go on quite a bit at this
Yeah,
point.
that means because it's an everyday occurrence, right? So in order for something to make the news, it has to be totally egregious. Right, exactly. Because it happens all the time. This is becoming a normality. It's a militarized police state, whether you want to believe it or not. That's what's becoming. That's what's happening right now.
Here's the real question. Like, because it seems like it's just us who really have the issues with the police. No, to be very honest, like, in every other community, I've never heard. I mean, you hear with black people, you obviously hear it with Latino people. So I don't want to leave them out because they have their issues, but you don't necessarily hear about other communities having these issues.
I would say that other communities don't necessarily deal with it as much as we do, but people of color, but it is a police issue. Like, there is a militarizing of police, right? Anytime, like, why do police have riot gear? Why do police have a robot? Like, for what?
I was
why do you need that at the 73rd precinct? Like, for what's the purpose? I don't understand that.
Not to cut you off, but that the situation. What was that in Dallas?
Dallas, right?
Where they had
A robot. For
that
what?
delivered a bomb. I was like, you got that? A robot that could deliver a bomb? And listen,
Exactly.
If Dallas got it, NYPD got some double special
Right.
stuff, right? Because let's just say that.
So why does regular day law enforcement, this is people who are supposed to keep your community safe, why do they need that? Okay, so that's why. That doesn't make any sense as far as I'm concerned. However, I feel like we bear the brunt of police brutality and all this type of stuff more than anybody else does. We can ask the questions about that, why that happens, why that seems to be the case. But in general, I just think it's a police issue.
It's just to kind of backtrack. I definitely hear where you're coming from. A lot of when these instances happen, like you see the reels over and over and over on TV. Are we becoming desensitized to these issues, or
Definitely.
I would definitely say this, with the constant onslaught, the constant amount of material that's out there, we are becoming a little desensitized. Me personally, it just seems too much. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'm outside, I'm talking with the fellas or whatever, day to day, and they're like, "Did you see this? Did you see that?" I'm like, "Nah, I ain't see that, man. What happened?" It's just so much. But with media and propagation, sometimes with me, I think about, is it a message really being sent in terms of to inject fear into the communities? You know what I mean? Is it one of those things where it's like, did you get the memo, nigger? One of those things like, did you wake up and did you, nah, but real talk, like, did you get the memo? You know, and that's how I look at it sometimes. I'm not a conspiracy theory, you know, I'm not into any of that stuff, but it's just more so like, why so much? Why is it happening so much? Why do we see it all the time?
But
What's really going on?
Does that go back to the issues of now everybody has a camera phone, or everybody, cameras everywhere. Like
Right.
cameras second nature now.
Right.
People who are in instances where police brutality is present, people are live streaming it so the world can see. Like right now, the
Right.
police got me hemmed up.
Right.
Like
Right.
so
even with that, I mean, we got to ask the question, why are they not convicted? This is the question. Why are they not
That's
convicted?
the thing.
Police been convicted.
You know, why are they
What
not
you mean?
convicted?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Like, I'll give the New York City example, right? The best New York City example I could give was like a Kai Gurley. Like, these things happen pretty often, right? They happen. When they happen, I'm sorry to say that there's some that just tug at my heartstrings just a little different. A lot of them are always wrong, but there's just some, I don't know why. Maybe it's something within me, it tugs at my heartstrings a little different. Like Philando Castile, because it's always about, oh well, as soon as somebody's killed by the police, it's like, well, look at his record, right? Which is wrong to begin with, right? But this is a guy who was squeaky clean, was serving lunch for the kids, and was a licensed, firearm carrier in his state, right? Where was the NRA then, right? To stand up for him. That's a whole nother story. That tugged at my heartstrings. But going back to the New York City example, a Kai Gurley who was just traveling down his stairs, and he gets shot. All right, so you got an officer on duty, right? But that man is dead. So it's like, who's to pay for that? Who's to pay for that? Like, is the term accident?
Exactly.
Like an accident? Like I don't want anybody to ever tell my son or tell my wife like it was an accident. An accident? Like my life? And those are the things that resonate with you, like when you go to sleep at night.
I'm here and I'm looking at my Instagram feed, and this made me think of, I posted this December 3rd, 2014, from Rudy Francisco, and the poem is called Flinch, right? My biggest fear is that one day I will hear about a black boy dying and I won't flinch. Because it's so rampant, it's so normalized. Because that's the question that you asked earlier, are we desensitized? And we're so desensitized, right? That now you start asking questions like, well, what happened? What did he do? What was he in the wrong? Well, if he had just did this, or we are clearly becoming desensitized. Well, what if he had did this? Or what if he had did that? Well, did he really?
Which is ultimately like victim blaming.
Exactly. Victim blaming.
Right.
And clearly in cases like Philando Castile, cases like a Kai girl, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter. I'm at the point right now that if the police pull me over, my hands is out the window, I don't know what to do. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm convinced at this point that me being stopped by the police could result in me losing my life. Doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter. And it's been proven time and time and time again.
And what's interesting is you are totally not alone in that feeling. Like where whatever percentage of the population we are, 14% or whatever have you. I hate to throw out the statistics and not be 100% accurate, but whatever part of the population we are, it's a lot of people that feel that way. And that's kind of that kind of what brings us here. There was something I was thinking about too, like we have in New York, we have a police commissioner who's highly educated, like it comes from long history of criminal justice education, and he understands comparative criminal justice, which means that he studies law enforcement, criminal justice systems from all across the world. Um, so he, in particular, would understand community policing. Like there are systems of community policing from that I know of from studying personally, like Japan, right? So police officers in Japan have to live in the community that they police. There's no driving from Long Island. There's no coming from, way across town and saying this is where I'm gonna settle up. Like you, not only you live in the community, you live in a building in the neighborhood, and you know everybody in the building, and they could come ring your bell. Like if you have a girlfriend and she comes to the neighborhood on a regular basis. At some point, he's coming to check you and be like, "Yo, Mike, that's your girlfriend? What's her name? What time she normally come?" You know, totally, truly interacting with the community, not just popping up here and there, living in the community, interacting with the community, which is what I feel could have stopped the death of Amadou Diallo when he got shot 41 times. Because if those police officer was from the community, they would know that's Mr. Diallo. He comes home at midnight. That's him. How you doing, Amadou? How everything's all right? Okay, cool. But nevertheless, do we ever see community policing rarely happening
Nope, not in
amongst
this
the black communities?
You see it, but you don't see it in this community.
Right.
Not in this community. You walk down the block, you see it. You walk down the block, you see it.
Right,
You don't
right.
see it in this community.
And you're saying that because we live on the borderline between a black community and a Jewish community,
Right.
who totally polices their own community. Like, is that something you think that we could do?
I think it's definitely something that can be done, but also at the same time, there are also other things within the community that need to be done too, such as, of course, starting up our own businesses, starting up, increasing the tax dollar that flows through our communities. From our communities into the state that we live in, right? Because your tax dollar and your money and your economic power, that's what truly matters, and this is what we see from a lot of these different communities, because it seems like they all exist within the same equation, but we get the brunt of it. Right. So when we look at these different communities and see what it is that they do, we see that they do have, they're empowered economically. They're empowered with their own businesses. The money stays within their communities, and then they're able to police these businesses. They're able to police these their own communities the way in which they wish to do so. But we don't have that. We don't have that. So that's something that I can't really say what's first, what's second, what's third, but that's how I see it from that standpoint of just being able to start out and have something, your own section. But we don't have that.
Right.
We exist within a section, but we don't have our own.